to watch it. So as I said, my name's Amy Good. I'm the program manager for the Community Education Center for Elk and Cameron Counties. Through my Discover Partnership program, I assist students and adults with career exploration and college planning. I remember myself being shell-shocked after receiving my daughter's first college bill, and I hope to help alleviate that for you as our speakers tonight will share resources and tips to lead you to scholarship opportunities. On our agenda tonight, we will start with PHEAA, who will give us an overview of scholarships. Then the Elk and McKean County Community Foundation will share their local scholarships that are available to you. The NPRC will wrap up our program by sharing their local programs for those of you who may be short on funds and looking for affordable programs. So at this time, I'm going to pass the program over to Kurt Deutsch, who is the PHEAA Access Partner for our region. So welcome, Kurt.
Thank you so much, Amy. Yeah, my name is Kurt Deutsch. I'm with PHEAA, which stands for Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency. We're an organization created by the Pennsylvania General Assembly back in the 1960s. Our main purpose is to provide affordable access to higher education. One of the things that we do is go and let students know about the different programs that are out there as far as applying for the FAFSA and things like that, as well as like scholarship presentations like today. So I'm going to go through a series of slides here and letting you know about different options with scholarships, and we'll take some questions afterwards. All right, so first of all, what are the options that are out there for higher education? So there are several different opportunities for higher education, such as at college or university level, community colleges, business, trade, and technical schools, or hospital schools of nursing. So we at PHEAA have a number of different websites created to help students in their educational journey. One of them is called educationplanner.org, where they can explore different careers, what the expected salaries are based on location, as well as college and academic majors that they might be interested in. And then also self-assessments, and then a student and parent guidance as well is also available on that site. It's a really good idea to research the chosen field before you begin school. So that way you can learn about different things. What will the job growth be? What are job opportunities in that field? What would the starting salaries be? What would you need to study afterwards? Remember, the rule of thumb is you should only borrow what you need to get your education. And that would be your first year out in the workforce. Different types of things you want to consider is how much is your post-secondary education going to cost, how much you're going to have to borrow for that education, and what should you be doing right now to prepare for it. The educationplanner.org website can help students and parents answer these questions. So some factors to consider when choosing a school is the location of the school, the size, what's their job placement rate, what percentage of the students that graduate actually get jobs in the field, what's their graduation rate, what's the student life like, are there different activities for the students that they're interested in, or maybe not, or somewhere in between. And the big one is, are they financially fit? Are you able to, not just complete the first year of school, but can you complete all 4 years? Then major and academic programs that they have, the safety at the university, as well as do they accept or transfer credits from AP classes and other things like that. So one thing that is a great thing to know is a net price calculator. So each school is required to have a net price calculator on their website, and it lets students know what students paid or had to pay out of pocket for the previous year to go to that school for that particular major. So it's not the sticker cost of going to the school, but it's what students ended up having to pay after grants and scholarships were applied, money that you don't have to pay back. All schools are required to have a net price calculator on their website, and there is a net price calculator that's not specific to a school, but you can put the school and the location, and that's available at collegecost.ed.gov. So there's certain things that you can do on your own to reduce your cost of going to school, and that is to graduate on time. So for a four-year degree, you need 120 credits that you've taken and passed in order to graduate on time. Most schools only require you to have 12 credits per semester to be full-time, but doing the math of 8 semesters, 2 semesters a year, if you only take 12 credits a semester, you're going to be short the 120 credits. So make sure you take at least 15 credits per semester and pass those in order to graduate in time. And then also make sure that you're in the right major for you. Not switching majors can save you considerable time, as well as commuting. Consider commuting the first year, maybe the first 2 years, or even longer, and can save you a considerable amount of money on housing and food. If you're able to earn college credits while in high school, that can also, like a dual enrollment, that can also help, you know, get out of college quicker with less debt. Starting in a community college rather than going to a four-year school to start out can also save quite a bit of money there as well. Check with your employer. Some companies out there are willing to um, pay for your college if you end up working there. So one thing that you want to know are about the forms that are required when going to school. One form that's required by all schools and PHEAA. At PHEAA, we administer the Pennsylvania State Grant, um, and we also some scholarships organizations also require that you fill out the FAFSA. The FAFSA application is required every year for all students, and it can be accessed at studentaid.gov. Now, the Pennsylvania State Grant form is required by PHEAA for all first year students. And it's not required for years 2, 3, and 4. You only have to fill that out the very first year. For the other years, we were able to get that information from the FAFSA application. Now, some schools require an additional application to be filled out, and that's called the CSS profile through the College Board. And that CSS profile is used for additional funding at the school, but check with the school to see if they require the CSS profile because there is a slight cost to fill out that application. Also, check with the school. There might be additional forms that might be required each year, and that would be for institutional funding at the school. So know which form each school requires. That way you don't miss any deadlines or anything like that. So every student and contributors do have to create what's known as an FSAID account. This is your digital signature and it's yours for life. So students, when you create it, you want to keep that handy. Later on, when you become a parent, you'll still use your same FSAID to sign your student's application. For parents that already have an FSAID and you have multiple children, you will use your own FSAID to sign each of your children's FAFSA application. You don't need to create a second or third or fourth one. You only need one. It is the legal signature for both students and contributors. And you do need to create the FSAID at least 4 days prior to completing the FAFSA application because it needs to be verified through a verification process with the Social Security Administration. So is there a magic formula to getting a scholarship? Not necessarily, but there's some things that you should know. So qualifying for scholarships, it looks at athletics, music, art, different academic things that you're involved in, after school or summer jobs, special interests that you're involved in, if you have leadership qualities, or if you're doing community and volunteer service, as well as your employment history and different employers that you've worked for. So there's some places that you can look for scholarships. They could either be at the national level, the local or regional, or the post-secondary schools. Don't limit your search to just one of these categories. Search in all categories. Increases your chances for receiving some scholarship money, which is money you don't have to pay back. Now, on the post-secondary scholarship side, schools that you might apply to might offer scholarships based on either your academics, your leadership ability, your athletics, or talent. But, check with the school's website and their admissions office if there are any specific application requirements for each of these things. Now, certain schools might have available scholarships on their website, so you want to check that out as well. Now, the PAFoundation.org is a foundation for Pennsylvania, and you can check that out. You can search scholarships with that link right there. That's circled, search scholarships. And you can search based on year of study and by the major as well. Now, at the local or regional scholarship level, guidance officer guidance officers can help you, help you search for scholarships. But really, it's really up to the student to do the search, and their drive to find a scholarship. Local organizations and credit unions or religious affiliations that you have, or any other organizations that maybe your parents are involved with or your neighbors, can also maybe help you land a scholarship. So at the regional and statewide level, like labor unions, associations, and nonprofit groups might also have scholarships. You can check with all those places. Now, the Central Pennsylvania Community Foundation, their website, you can search for different scholarship opportunities within Central Pennsylvania at their website here. Now, on this slide here, we talk about different scholarship search engines that are out there. All these are free. Fastweb.com is the largest one out there, where students would then create a profile and put their scholarship resume, like everything that they're involved in, business organizations, activities, clubs, leadership, things like that, jobs that they've had. They would put all of that in, and then they would get an alert when that website finds a scholarship with a potential match, where then the student could fill that out. Collegeboard.org is another great site, scholarshipamerica.org, as well as gomary.com. They would answer, each of these you'd answer questions about yourself, and you can should be able to find some scholarships that would match your student interest or merit or things like that. Now, given the time that we're in, you want to be aware of scholarship scams. So if you have to pay to apply for a scholarship, it's probably not legitimate. The same as if they're guaranteeing that you'll get a scholarship or your money back, it's not legitimate. Or if they're if the offer of no contact information, so they don't provide any contact information, but they want you to provide information, it's probably not legitimate. Now, also, like if there's a scholarship and it's spelled incorrectly, it's probably also not a legitimate organization or a legitimate scholarship. So this is kind of a question, which one of these food chains offer scholarships? And so you have Chick-fil-A, Burger King, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Wendy's, and McDonald's. All these um, businesses offer scholarships for students. So here's a work ethic scholarship. So um, this rewards people who have a passion to find training for a skill that's in demand. It's not based on grades. All you have to do is submit a video that details your work ethic. This is a real scholarship. So this next one is the Zombie Apocalypse Scholarship. So imagine that your high school's been overrun with zombies. Your math professor and the cafeteria ladies, even your best friends, have all joined the Walking Dead. To avoid the zombies, include where you would hide, the top things you would bring to stay alive. $2,000 scholarship. Is this real or not real? This is real, believe it or not. So here's an app and game scholarship. So strong academic performance, desire to attend a four-year school. There's a $35 application fee. This is not real because there's an application fee to it. So the Chick and Sophie Major Memorial Duck Calling Contest. So this is a duck calling competition or contest available to high school seniors who develop the talent in duck calling. You have to participate, and the duck calling contest in Stuttgart, Arkansas, to be considered for this award. Is this real or not real? This is actually a real scholarship. So the next one, using duct tape to create prom outfits and accessories to enter the photos in an online contest to win a duct tape scholarship. This is real. So in 2021, these were the winners of the duct tape scholarship contest. So there is a scholarship called the Tall Clubs International Scholarship. So you have to be under the age of 21. You have to be 5'10" for women and 6'2" for men. The scholarship's $1,000. This is a real scholarship. Now your scholarship resume um, should basically include your academics, any personal performance, extracurricular activities that you've been involved in, and any volunteer activities, employment. And so besides grades, class rank, and test scores, what makes you stand out? You can also have recommendations from teachers, advisors, community leaders, your employers, or coaches. So the program doesn't focus just on test scores, but it involves your character, personal responsibility, and your positive attitude. So common scholarship essay questions that are out there would be like, why do you deserve this scholarship? And describe a time when you demonstrated leadership, or who do you admire the most and why? And where do you see yourself 10 years from now or 5 years from now? And describe a challenge that you've overcome. So the real thing about a scholarship essay is you're telling the story of who you are, where you've come, and where you're going. The scholarship essay, you can reuse the scholarship essay on other scholarship essays, and you might just have to tweak it a little bit for each scholarship that you apply to. But you know, for for an essay that you spend 2 hours, you might be able to get $500 or more out of a 2 hour essay. And if you're going to recycle one, you could, tweak it a little bit and you spend even less time and receive maybe 300, 400, 500 or more. There's no guarantee of a scholarship, but um, making that effort and applying can be very rewarding and help reduce the amount of money you need to borrow for school. Some students are embarrassed to tell their story and share obstacles they've overcome, but reading these applications and selecting a candidate or selecting the winner, they need to know what your unique story is and where you've come from and what motivates you. So some scholarship search tips. You need to do the work. No one's going to do the scholarship search for you. Um, and devote a couple hours a week to searching for scholarships at both the local, the regional, at the school level, and at the national level. Don't ignore scholarships for the smaller awards. If you get a scholarship for $200, $300, $500, $600, $1,000, or $1,300, when you add them all up, it can be quite a bit and help reduce the amount that you need to borrow. Write an essay that makes a strong impression. Um, a solid, like somebody that doesn't know you would read it and like, this person is really good. We should give them some money. Don't miss the deadlines. If the scholarship sets a certain deadline of a certain date, don't wait till that date to submit it. And if you submit it even after that date, then you wouldn't be considered. So there's a scholarship success story out there. There are many of them, but this one in particular, the students spent time every week searching and applying for scholarships, and they were able to complete 4 years of school without any loans. So it can be done. And let me just share one other story. This one student, they applied for a scholarship, and they were a baritone in the choir, and they applied for a scholarship, and this was be for a soprano in school. But they were a baritone and they figured, well, let me just apply anyway. The scholarship organization was so happy to have an applicant because they hadn't had an applicant in 4 years. And they not only got that award when they wouldn't normally be eligible, but they got it for 4 years. In addition to other scholarships they got, they were then able to go through school without borrowing any money. So it really helped them and worked out. So it can be done. You might not get everything paid for, but if you can have a significant portion of your loans, or not to have to borrow as much in loans, your future self will thank you. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat if you haven't already.
All right. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat, but does anybody have any questions at this time for Kurt?
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Yes.
So my son completed his FAFSA and I completed my contributor part. And in years past, I know they always said there was a link directly to like the state grant page from the completion page, but there was nothing to click on. So he went and registered on like the state site and made his account. But then it said he needs to wait to get an email from, I think, from his FAFSA in order to fill out the state side of things.
Yes. Yeah. Great question. So yes, in the past, there used to be a link. This year, things are changing. So you have to complete your FAFSA first. That information then has to be transmitted to PHEAA, in which case then we will send out an email to the students that applied and give them instructions on how to create a Grant Us account in order to complete the FAFSA or to complete the Pennsylvania State Grant form. And we'll also give them instructions in the email of how to go about doing that. So they have to complete the FAFSA first. That information has to be transferred to us afterwards, and then after that point, then we can send them that. And just so you're aware, the FAFSA information in the past transferred seamlessly to the state organizations as well as the schools. That is no longer the case right at the beginning of this FAFSA 2025, 2025 year. So they're delaying on sending any of that FAFSA information until the end of January. After that period, then it's going to be more seamless, and then all the state organizations and the schools will get the information like in real time. But so you just have to sit tight and wait, because we can't send out any emails until after we get that information. What's not going to happen until after January.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have a question? Okay. All right, we'll check back after the session's over and if anyone has any more questions for Kurt.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Kurt.
You're
So next we have Chris Cronenwetter from the Elk County Community Foundation, who's going to talk about local scholarships that are available. And I'm going to share. Can you see the website, Chris?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do you
Okay,
want me
hi.
to just go ahead?
Okay. I'm Chris Cronenwetter. I'm the scholarship manager for the Elk County Community Foundation. Actually, and Molly, that's one of our people that works for the foundation. Amy has put up one of the pages, and each one of you, I don't expect you to read this, but all your guidance departments would have gotten this form last week. It gives you all the information how to sign on. I just wanted you to see what it looks like. You're going to go to the website. You're going to click on your school. I'm not exactly sure where you are right now, Amy.
I
Go to
can
where it says scholarships, go to the website, go to
scholarship opportunities,
Yes. And then
information for students.
And then on the, okay, this is the Elk County website. If you go to the McKean County website, we have all the schools that are up in McKean that have scholarships with us. All you have to do is click on any one of them, Amy. And you'll see you can scroll down and all the scholarships are there. If you click on more information, it tells you more about the person that the scholarship was formed by or for. And then if you scroll down just a little bit further, it should say how to click here to apply. Click on that. Okay, when you get to this part, this is where you're going to log on. You're going to put an email address in, but you need to put in an email address that has nothing to do with your high school, because you're going to have to send us information after you're out of high school, and you won't be able to use that address. So either make up a new one or use one that you already have. Put the address in, the password, write it down. Obviously, if you forget it, you don't want to create a new one. You click forgot my password and you can get another one. But this is the only way you can get into the scholarships. So go to your school and go from there. Now, what you're also going to have to do, you can get out of that, Amy.
Like stop sharing?
Yeah, you can stop sharing that. When you get into that part where you make your own account, you're going to have to take an eligibility quiz. You're going to have to answer questions like what you're interested in going to school for. And when you're putting that down, if you're planning to become a doctor or a lawyer or anything that has like 5, 6, 7 years, you're clicking on what you're going to be doing next year. Don't click on what your future plans are. We're only interested in what you're doing next year for these scholarships. But you're going to have to answer the questions. It might just be the name of your high school, if you played on the baseball team, if you played on a basketball team, what county you live in. Those are all should be very simple questions for you, but you have to answer those because we have a couple of baseball scholarships or basketball scholarships. And if you happen to be, I'll give an example. There's a girls basketball scholarship from St. Mary's area. If you forget to click girls basketball, that scholarship will not populate into your profile. They're going to have all the scholarships that populate for you will pop up under your listing of your name. Now, if you look at our website that Amy was just on before, you can look and see what kind of scholarships are there, thinking, geez, I knew there was a scholarship. I should have qualified for that. Check it out. If you look at it and you think you met the criteria, you can call our office. And the paper that I just showed you has all our phone numbers and all our email addresses. Call, and Molly Cerrone is our computer guru. She can open it back up or make the correction, but it's up to you because we don't know what scholarships you would qualify for. But that can always be changed and added to. Now, this year we added 11 new scholarships. We're up to about 180 scholarships between all of our counties. We have at least 7 counties, if not more, because we have the one that popped up with Tyler Bender, it's an EMS scholarship. That's went all over the, down to Pittsburgh for students that would qualify, that they could qualify for that scholarship. So you have to look at them closely, and it's going to be checking. You have to check off, I'm interested in EMS. It's not going to pop up unless you check off you're interested in EMS. But some of the newer ones we got this year, that includes Elk and McKean County as a Staff Sergeant Carl Enos, Kelly Ritz, Tyler Bender, which I just mentioned, EMS. Cameron added a Leo and Margaret Bloom. It's a post-secondary degree. ECC added a Don Walker Muntz scholarship. McKean added Andrew Pingy for technical education, included McKean and Cattaraugus County. Martin Henneman in criminal justice was all of McKean. Bradford Area High School included a couple of Kiwanis Club scholarships and a Larry and Mary Brannigan post-secondary scholarship. Saffron includes the trades and vocational for McKean High Schools and adult. When your applications are completed, by March 7th is the deadline. They opened yesterday, and we actually had a number of students that went on yesterday because we can check who's on there now. And since school was off yesterday and many of the schools are off today, we haven't looked to see how many, but we think probably a number of students started it. Now, you can start them now, put it on hold for a little while, then go back to them. But don't wait till March 5th or 6th to finish them because you may not get them done. Somebody asked us, well, do you extend it? We do not extend it. The computer shuts down on March 7th at like 11:59 and you cannot submit anything else. So you have to get it done by March 7th. That's very, very important. After that closes, the schools have a couple of days to get the information to add to the students' transcripts or letters of references. Not all scholarships have letters of references. I did a count up. The Elk, McKean, Austin, Potter scholarships have 14 that require reference letters. The McKean County ones have 22 that require references. Now, sometimes they'll require one reference, sometimes they'll require two. Sometimes they will give you specific information. They want somebody that was a coach, somebody that was a community leader. So read what the instructions say about who's going to be the reference. Also, when it comes to essays, like Kurt said, you could write one essay and it may fit a couple of the different scenarios for scholarships, but you need to read what the scenario is. If you just type an essay and assume, oh, it's a right essay for everybody, it may not be. Some of them are close, but if you write the wrong essay, you could get thrown out before they even look at your application. Some of the scholarships takes the essays very, very seriously, and students have might be perfect on the application, but did not meet the criteria with the essay. So be careful. One of the this is the third year we've done the computer classes or computer online scholarships. And the students really like it because if you had any older brothers or sisters, when they did the scholarships 4 years ago, if they had 10 scholarships, they had to fill them out line by line, your name, your address, your email, everything had to be done separately. Now there's a spot on the application, you can click and do copy all. If you had already asked your guidance counselor for your grades, the grades will transfer into the new application. It also will transfer in your essay. Now, like I just said, if the essay meets the same criteria, you're good. But if it asks you different questions, you need to go in and make sure you answer those questions. That's very, very important. And one of the things that Molly did last year, because sometimes we don't have good responses with people doing letters of reference. Like if most of them only ask for 1 or 2, but there's a few of them that did ask for 3. She will put 4 slots there. And you can ask 4 people and they can take all 4 of them. But if you have one person that doesn't fill in the app, that doesn't give you the reference, at least you have 3 backups. So, we suggest that if you can, ask for an extra one. If you ask for 1, ask for 2. So if somebody doesn't fill in the reference letter, you have that extra one there. When it comes to, majority of our scholarships are for high school seniors, but there are a few, and it's gotten to be more for college students also. So make sure you look, because there's a tab on the bottom of our website that says college, non-traditional, whatever. And you don't all have to be going to a 4-year school. There might be, like I said, trade schools, vocational schools. So check those out if that's your field. Last year, we awarded $354,000 to approximately 262 students. And also with PHEAA, there's a program called PATH. If you get a scholarship from the Elk County Community Foundation or the McKean County Community Foundation, Paula Eddy, who's our executive director, will submit that your name and all your information to PHEAA. If you meet their guidelines, you could get matched up to $2,500 additional funding. It depends on if you only got a $500 or $1,000, you're not going to get $2,500, but they could match you up to $1,000 possibly. But it has to go through either the Elk County or the McKean County Foundation. Last year we gave, I think there was 75 students received an additional $92,000 from PATH. So that's something you don't have to do. Paula submits that to PHEAA, and then they make the determinations of who would be getting that. And like I said, all apps completed online. We do not take paper applications under any circumstances. All the transcripts and essays are uploaded to the website. And again, make sure you use a website that is not your high school website. You can win more than one scholarship. It's not, if you get one, it doesn't mean you're not going to get another one. Sometimes we've had students get 5 or 6 of them, and that builds up to quite a pot of money there too. And it's very important to look at what the category is. Don't apply for a nursing scholarship if you're going to become a teacher, or don't apply for education scholarship if you're going to become a nurse. They have some specifics. There are some scholarships that are specific. It says post-secondary education. It's wide open. There's one of the new scholarships that I mentioned for ECC. You have to be at ECC and you have to have been confirmed in the Catholic faith. That particular family is very involved in the Catholic Church, and that's a requirement. So any ECC students that may be listening, that's a scholarship you can go after. There are other ones that are for criminal justice. You just look at what your interest is and the scholarships that appear in your portal after you answer the eligibility quiz. The eligibility quiz will not take too long at all. Now, community service is also very important. If you haven't done a lot of community service, this is a little late to start doing it. But if you have any younger brothers or sisters, encourage them to do community service. They aren't just interested in a student that's just a bookworm. They want to see a well-rounded student. The two websites that you can go to, depending on which counties you live in, is www.elkcountyfoundation.org or mckeancountyfoundation.org. Now, the Elk County Community Foundation does include Elk, Cameron, Austin, Potter. And the McKean County is like Bradford area, Kane area, Port Allegheny, Smethport, Ottawa, Eldred. Those are McKean. And if you see, somebody might look and say, oh, they have a question down here if you belong to a county in Pittsburgh. We do have a couple of scholarships that go to Pittsburgh from a family member, a family that set that up, and they're giving 4 scholarships to Elk County and added 2 for Pittsburgh. So you might see a question thinking, why are they in there? But they have specialties. The donor that donated the money made up the criteria for the scholarship. We can make suggestions, but they make the final choice. Also, when it comes to awarding the scholarships, the schools give us some input. Then if you have a family that donated and they wanted to be the awarder, the scholarships all go to them and they make the final decision. So then like the medical scholarships, they go all to a medical community, committee. So it's not just one person or 2 people making the decisions. It's all over the counties that we're working with. So, and the donors are really involved there. A lot of the donors, if you've been to any of the award ceremonies, a lot of the donors that gave scholarships are for people that they've lost, whether it's a tragic accident or a disease or something. So they take it very seriously and they want to give it to the right person. So read the little synopsis that's there about the person that's being awarded for, because it could make a difference of what your essays say. So I know I covered a lot of territory, but I think if you get into the website and you look at the paper that I sent to your guidance counselors, they all got it last week. So hopefully they got it out to you, but with the snow days, it might have fouled things up. But that's very, very important. Do not wait till March 6th to do this. Get started as soon as possible. And like I said, you can start it and then stop and then go back in at a later date. But then you could do the copy and it'll take it all into the next scholarship. So any questions? And after, if there's no questions right now, you can call us at the number that I gave you, guidance counselors. Our numbers are, and so are our email addresses. I work on it, scholarships at elkcountyfoundation.org. And Molly Cerrone is our computer guru, and she's CFNA at northernalleghenies.org. So there's 2 different ones, but they're all spelled out on in your letters that you got. So any questions? Like I said, there's 180 scholarships there, so look.
All right, I'm not seeing any questions, but I do want to add to parents. Senior year is very busy and seniors are usually not focused on college scholarships. So it's your job to kind of keep at them to get these scholarships done. I know with my daughter, we would like do so many every weekend, so it wasn't so overwhelming for her because it does take both of you to kind of like get through it. So I would just say, assign some time or, between now and the end of February to make sure that you get these scholarships done and in on time. All right, thanks, Chris. Great information.
Sure.
All right, we are now going to finish up our program with Jody Gusto from the Northern PA Regional College. There's several reasons why I like to include her in our program tonight. I will get calls from college students who finish their first or second semester and realize they just can't afford to continue and they must move back home. So they're looking for options on how they can continue their education. Also, sometimes I get high school seniors who, when they get their first college bill, they're like, wow, I don't think I really want to go into debt, and what are my other options locally? So Jody's going to tell us what those options are in case you find yourself in one of those situations. So Jody?
Okay, let's see. I can get this to share. Okay, there it is. Okay, look at that, Amy. I did it this year. Anyways, I've been on this before. I seem to have technical difficulties each year. But hello, good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's not frozen tonight. I know it's extremely cold in Cameron County. My name is Jody Gusto, and I work for Northern Pennsylvania Regional College. I'm one of the education representatives, and I cover Elk and Cameron. I've also covered other territories, so if there's any questions, I can probably answer for Potter and McKean as well. I do have a quick PowerPoint so you guys can see the information, which I've also shared with Amy so that she could forward to anybody as well separately from this presentation. Sorry. Okay. So I'm just going to give you some brief information about NPRC. I'm going to start with the good stuff, the cost savings. I know everybody on here has different ideas and what they're going to do after high school, whether they're going to go into the military, they're going to go to college, 4-year, 2-year, they're going to go away to college, they're going to stay here. I wanted to let everybody know about the opportunities that we have locally that you can start to save a lot of money even before you're done with high school. So we are tuition for residential tuition, which is at the first number you're going to see, the 185 a credit. That is for adult learners. So it's 185 a credit if they've got no aid, and that's for if they live within they live in Pennsylvania, or not Pennsylvania, I'm sorry, within our footprint, which is 10 counties, and I will cover that in a minute. I apologize. So if you are still in high school, you can do what's called dual enrollment, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and that's only $60 a credit. So they can start in high school. Your junior year will start. It's only $60 a credit, so you're going to save even more money with us. If you didn't start early and you start with us as an adult learner, you can still get an education for under $14,000. Now, I want to say that when I say under $14,000, that's if you're going as a full-time student. So if you're just taking one class here or there, it may cost you more depending on what assistance you get for schooling. And we do have a tuition assistance. We are currently right now finishing our accreditation. So hopefully soon we will be able to accept the FAFSA, but we are not able to quite yet. But we do have our own aid as well as their scholarships that specifically are for NPRC, and ones that say for alternative education also go for us. So there's other options there as well. We utilize a lot of cost saving options. So most of our textbooks are online. If you see, our students use the open education resources, which is between 60 to 80% of our students use those free digital resources. We do not update our books, our textbooks. I went to IUP and I remember every time getting new books, like, oh, you can't sell us back, they've done a new edition. Well, we don't do that unless there's the instructor can prove there absolutely is a reason to go up to a different level for that. And they do try to make those available. We have students that will donate the books back so we can lend them out to students at future terms. And just like a little fast fact there, if anybody has been looking at tuition costs, and I go with Amy a lot of times where we work with the students to try to explain to them what tuition is versus what it actually costs to go to college. So just using my son at IUP for 2023-24, tuition only, which is your classes, is $12,000. And then if you look down below, you have to then add on for your housing and meals if you're staying at college. So that's like $11,000 to $12,000 more. Again, if you're looking at NPRC, you get the associate's degree for less than you're going to pay for well, almost the same amount that you pay for 1 year of school. So that's a huge difference. Even if you want to start with us, you can always again move on from there. And this is just can briefly see, I gave you all the rates. I don't know that I've dealt with anyone who's been out of state, but we do have different costs. You'll see the difference between a full-time student, which is 12 to 18 credits, and whether they're in state or out of state. And you can also see the different levels there. And I wanted to show, this is something we've really emphasized on our new brochures, is to show that what it costs. Most of our students, like we've looked at average our students, and most of them are only paying $488 per term. If you can see, the cost per term is the $2,220. They typically are getting the assistance from us, that's not including outside scholarships, for $1,732, which leaves them at only $488 per term. You can't feed your child at college for 1 term for that if they're using the cafeteria. So it's a lot of cost savings there. As I mentioned earlier, you can start taking classes in high school, which is called dual enrollment. They do have to be a junior or senior, and they do have to have a 2.5 grade point average, because of course, if they're struggling with their high school classes, we don't want to put college courses on top of that. They can be eligible for institutional aid depending on the situation. They can only take 6 credits the first term, and then they can move up to 12 from that. But we want to make sure that they are successful with the 6 credits first. We do have options to transfer credits. We can't guarantee them, just like anybody else can't guarantee to Penn State and vice versa. We will help, and we will provide syllabuses if they know what school they're going to, if they're transferring to a 4-year college, to make sure they transfer. We do have some on the PA track that you can look at, as well as we have ones listed on our website. Will show if someone's transferring credits into us. We do have a formal agreement with the Commonwealth Universities, which is Bloomsburg, Lock Haven, and Mansfield. So if someone starts with us, and all of our degrees, aside from our early childhood one, which we're working on still, will transfer. The full associate's degree will transfer. And just for transferring from MPRC to one of those schools, then they're eligible for a 4-tier scholarship, which is based on their GPA. And that's up to 3 years and up to $5,000. So that's a great opportunity there as well. So our program is not only affordable, it's also accessible. And Amy knows this firsthand because we're in the same building with her. We have a live in-person instruction over across 10 counties. You can see everywhere we cover. So when I say live in person, means that depending on where the instructor lives, they will be right in front of you. And if they're not right in front of you, they're going to be on the screen right in front of you live in real time. Meaning if you ask them a question, they're answering it right then and there. We have over 20 classroom locations, and we've tried to make it so that they're only approximately 30 minutes from where residents live, if they have to travel at all. And this enables us to meet the students directly where they are. Now, today is a perfect example. Again, we say live in person, the student needs to go to the classroom in order to participate. But in a day like today, saying that, say if we had class today and the weather was bad, we do record the sessions. So they do have that option of watching them if something would happen, whether it's weather related or they had an emergency, and they could talk to the instructor and let them know. So we're affordable, we're accessible, and we are absolutely achievable. We try to make sure that we have broken down all the barriers that prevent some people from going to college at all or from being successful. So we are student focused. If you come to any of our classes, there's typically only about 4 students to 1 instructor, which I mean across the 10 counties. So you really have that one-on-one. Most people, even if they said they're shy and don't like to ask questions, they feel comfortable asking questions there because they actually do know the instructor. There's only a few other students. They might see a student on the screen that's from Erie and they're sitting in St. Mary's. But I feel like I have found they feel less intimidated and they feel like they have a better relationship with the instructor that way. We do have different class times, morning, afternoon, and evenings. Our class times are Monday through Friday. Monday through Thursday. I will say on Fridays, you might see that there's a lab. Like we have a biology lab, and that is on Fridays. That's typically the only time you'll see a class on a Friday. We do have all those wonderful things that you would find if you went off to a college campus. We have tutoring, online services, counseling and resources. We have career services, which is not only helps to prepare you for looking for a career. We do resume prep. We also have linked with the communities, and we will post job openings within College Central so that you know what opportunities are there. we have what's called a student engagement, student engagement specialist. This is our one-stop shop. And I like to say it's like that you are here at the mall, even though we hardly have any malls anymore. I still look at that board. So our student engagement specialists, they are the person that will begin with you from the very beginning, and they'll follow you through the end. So when you go on to do the application, which I did forget to mention, it is free to apply. There's no SATs required, and there is no essay required as well. So you can go on free to apply. So if you went on and did the application and then you change your mind later, you're not out any money at all whatsoever. The student engagement specialist will help you to apply for financial aid, help you get your books, and make sure that you have all your course materials. Now, everybody's path is different, and not everybody on this call is considering going to college or might not be considering the 2-year degree. You can take any of these classes individually, but we also have another side of our college. Oops, I'm sorry. I switched up my presentation. So actually I'm going to go through the academic programs first, and then we'll talk about the other side of the college. So with our academics, we do have 5 associate degrees. So under our Associates of Arts, we have our liberal studies degree, our social sciences as well. Under our Associates of Science, we have our business administration, which is a knowledge-based course. And you can see we have a specialization. We started this about a year ago so that you can either look into general businesses or business information systems. So if you're looking for more computer systems, and a lot of our office management staff will take the business information systems. We do have an amazing criminal justice. All of our programs are amazing, but I've seen so much of the buildup from our criminal justice program. And then, of course, we also have our Associate of Applied Sciences with our early childhood education. And we do work, we have a CDA program so that if, depending where the CDA program, which is Child Development Credential Program, depending where they take it, if they're taking it through MPRC, if they're taking it through the Community and Career and Technical Institution, there's different credits they can transfer in. So it's called prior learning credits. So depending on where they take it, they're going to be able to transfer 6 to 9 credits into MPRC if they continue on with their degree. And now we'll go to the slide that I thought I had earlier. Again, if we want to make sure that everybody is successful, so we have different options. And the other side of our college is called workforce development, where we have non-credit and customized trainings. And some of these we are building out too, so that they can also qualify for prior learning credits into some of the degrees, especially the criminal justice. Some of the things that we typically offer, if you're in St. Mary's or you go through St. Mary's frequently, you're going to see our CDL sign just after or just before Bucktail, depending on which way you're going. We're running that monthly, and actually have the schedule built out for the entire 2024 year because those classes are popular. We can only take 4 students at a time. We're hoping to add another truck that we can take up to 8, but right now there's only 4, and we're running those, like I said, every month. We have run some free, thankfully, for some funding sources that we have been able to get. We've been offering free EMT or EMR courses in the different counties. We already did do one in Cameron County, which was full. We will provide fire safety. We're doing a CPR training specifically for fire department in Ridgeway currently. We're running a wastewater treatment program, which has different levels, but they can also, we're doing it as a full program, but also you can do it as continuing education, so they can jump in anytime they want. We have done the supervisory and leadership trainings. Again, there's our CDA that I mentioned previously in the CPR. We also will do for any manufacturers, we'll do customized training depending on what they want. And they may want like a leadership, but they also may want something for a CNC lathe. Or right now we have a request for doing forklift trainings. So those are different options we have as well. Oops. And again, I wanted to remind everybody that it is free. You can go on and create an account, free to apply, no SAT scores, no essays. The QR code here, you can scan if you'd like to. It will take you right to our website. We have been rebuilding things. If you have anybody has questions or trouble filling out the application, they can let me know. We also have all the workforce development classes are on the same website. You'll be able to find those and register for those as well. My office is located right in this CEC building up on the 3rd floor, right outside the elevators. If anybody ever needs me, there's also Monica's downstairs and she is working with the disability services. So she's actually in the administrative office down on the second floor. So we're available, and I'm going to have my contact information here on the last slide. And I did accidentally forget to put my email address here, which I can put in the chat. Amy, would that work? That
Yeah,
was
that'd
a
be good.
lot. And I've been around, and hopefully I've somehow encountered a lot of the people that are on the call or talk to your students, maybe still in high school. Does anybody have any questions?
I guess nobody has any questions.
Wow, everybody's quiet tonight.
Yeah. So I will be by the end of the week sending out a Google site which will include this recording. It will include the PowerPoints in case you want to look through those again. All the presenter's contact information. It also will have some additional resources, additional websites, and essay samples, resume samples for students to use, just to help guide you along this process of filling out these scholarship applications. And of course, I'm always available at the CEC too if you have additional questions. So I want to thank all our guests tonight for their presentations. And I hope parents and students that you leave this with more information than you started, and it helps you feel a little bit better. So thank you, everyone.
And please, everyone, stay safe and warm now that we've started winter.